We're back with Insert Burger Pun, and I'm Tiara Shea. Hello.
I'm Mike, and I'm very excited to talk about all the hot new Bob's Burgers news that we've fallen behind on. Honestly.
I know all the hot goss, yes.
There's a lot happening right now, and a lot of things that could happen in the near future with the show. So we're gonna get into it.
Yes. All right. Welcome to Insert Burger Pun, and we're gonna talk about the writer's strike a bit, just a little bit.
There's been a WGA strike going on for quite a few months now.
Yes.
And then SAG joined in a little bit later. So it is a combined strike.
Yes. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Against the major studios, and it hinges a lot on streaming residuals as well as AI capabilities and things like that. So it's a pretty big deal, but rather than talking about the strike as a whole, we're talking specifically about how it's affecting Bob's Burgers. So you had done a little bit of research on this earlier?
I did. So earlier in the year, before the strike was even announced, they did let us know that Bob's Burgers was renewed for season 14 and 15, with it basically telling us that we have Bob's Burgers until 2025. And so
guaranteed.
After the... Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, guaranteed until 2025. Okay.
Exactly. But then the writer's strike, so now even with what they have for season 14 is not complete.
Right.
Now they've only have, they said 17 scripts written, which I mean, like, that feels like a lot of episodes, 17 episodes, but I don't know whether or not all the scripts actually become episodes or not, or if they are combined. Is one script one episode, or is like one script could be like 3 making up one episode, like the little mini ones, you know what I mean?
I could see that angle, but I would assume that if they're referring to a script, they mean a script for an episode.
An episode.
A
Got
episode.
it. No, not what my English teacher taught me.
So did you say that they have 17 episodes completed for
17
season 14?
scripts.
17 scripts were completed.
Yeah, completed.
So, okay. And yeah, well, does that mean that they had also recorded the voiceover?
Exactly.
For those episodes.
They didn't put that information, though, so I'm not quite sure. That's why I was like, what does scripts even mean? What is a script? Does that mean that they read it? Is it just written? Because are the voice actors even working? So would it even matter whether they have the script or not? Are the actors
I don't
saying
think.
it?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't think voice actors, because SAG is Screen Actors Guild, so it's appearing on camera, I think. So as far as I know, voice actors are okay, but that's something we would have to check up on. But either way, it's very clear that the upcoming season, which is set to release very soon.
Very soon, October 1st,
Very
I believe.
soon it will premiere. So given that, we might see some weirdness in this season, and next season, at least for the time being, is up in the air, which is a big deal, especially for animation, because it takes a long time to do all of these things and to actually, get through production and through post-production as well. So oddly, very much up in the air. And then I think you had also mentioned there's general speculation around series renewal, right?
Yes.
So in general, if someone's unaware, typically shows get renewed for kind of like just contracts in general. They get renewed for a set amount of time. Same thing with athletes and stuff, right? And then when that period is up, then it's in question. They usually have the option to renew it for another set amount of time, or they just say, we're done. We're done, and we're moving on to something else. So it's not that there's been official cancellation of Bob's Burgers at all, but from 2025 onward, we're just not quite sure. And so it would maybe be interesting to chat about whether we think it will be renewed, whether the strike and the impact of the strike will play a role in whether or not the show gets renewed, or if its popularity starts to wane or something like that. So,
well, the only reason I'm like, ooh, is because I feel like the popularity is starting to wane already. Like,
okay.
Now, yes.
I
don't know. There's been a steady decline, I believe, with the seasons and things like that. So
in terms of quality, or are there numbers you're pointing to here?
Quality, I feel like I could pull up numbers, I bet.
Well, I know we have numbers for ratings. Like
Yeah.
TV ratings still exist, and we looked at those at some point a long time ago, and it has been a downward trend since the very early seasons. But also,
That's how shows go.
as we all know, well, that's how shows go, and also TV ratings are not meaningless,
Garbage.
but much less important now when arguably a majority of some of these fan bases, especially for Bob's Burgers, I think, are streaming stuff.
Yeah.
They're not tuning in live to
Yeah.
Fox on their
I got
TV
stuff to
sets.
do on Bob's Burgers nights. I have to
Yeah.
just watch it on Hulu like everybody else.
So there are other numbers we don't get to know about that would help judge how successful the show still is, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of
Sure.
hard to get a sense for that stuff. But
Sure.
I
But
would
also,
agree. Sorry.
can I paint you a picture real fast? It made me
Sure, go
think
for it.
when we were talking about the writer's strike, and when you said that their screen, it only counts really if you're on the screen. If the Belcher family were like real people but still animated, you get me? What like I could picture them at the picket line, like over in Burbank holding signs. I think that would be Linda's dream is to
Oh,
join and because she likes to chant. It's the
right.
museum episode all over again.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
They would
Jean
do a
would
good
have
job.
like a music benefit. Louise would like charge people to go to the picket line or something like
Yeah.
that. Would get money from people somehow. Tina would offer, emotional support.
Sure.
Linda's chanting and Bob's feeding the people for no money.
Yes, he has a table or another food truck or something, and they're
Yes.
having a great time. No, I
That'd
think
be so cute.
it would be successful. I think with that kind of setup. Yeah, that would be very helpful.
I agree. Okay, cool. So
Uh,
that would be them if they were actually doing the strike for
right,
the Screenwriters Guild.
right.
Or yep.
Yeah, SAG-AFTRA. So, just general impressions. Do you feel like like Fox/Disney will renew Bob's Burgers yet again when this current contract is up? Do you think it's
In
going to
this
happen?
current climate. I think so. Yes. I feel
Okay.
like this show is going to be not rival The Simpsons, but I think it's going to be one of those where it's going to be on for until it can't be.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Great North, though, is that even? I don't know if that got renewed. That one I
Oh,
could see dying. That one can die, I think.
Great North and Central Park, I have no idea of whether they still exist or how popular
I
they
think
are.
Central Park is still going, or I think Great North is still going.
Great North, because that one was actually on TV, right? Or was that streaming exclusive? Okay, so that
No,
was
that was
actually on TV. Central Park, I think, was streaming exclusive to Apple.
Yes, Apple TV, correct.
So there you go. Okay, but yeah, well, and that is kind of the natural follow-up question is getting into with something like The Simpsons, where how long can it go? That realistically, what are the legs of this show? And I don't know. It's with The Simpsons in particular. It's just the quality fell off so sharply that it's basically
What?
just objective. Like everyone just kind of agrees that The
Yeah.
Simpsons used to be incredible, and then for the last 20-ish years, it has not been that. And
Okay.
Bob's Burgers, I don't know. Maybe it's just I wasn't around for the early days of The Simpsons. I wasn't paying attention, but I have been here for the duration of Bob's Burgers, and I'm
Okay.
still kind of paying attention to the new episodes for obvious reasons and kind of staying tuned in. And while I do think that, there is a bit of a change in overall
Yeah.
quality or my interest in the new episodes,
Tell the
even
truth.
so, it still feels very much like Bob's Burgers to me. Like the identity of the show hasn't changed that much, and I kind of see that as a positive. So if there are enough people out there who are still vaguely interested in it and will continue to watch new episodes, why not? And that's the other
Right.
option too, is that what if it did transition to be a streaming only show? That's possible, and it might represent some kind of savings. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think in general I agree that they want to just same thing with Family Guy. Obviously, they just want it to keep going as long as it's profitable. Period. And apparently, because it's still on the air, it is still profitable. That's it.
All right.
It's enough. Well, we briefly touched on Great North, and Central Park. I almost forgot the name already.
Loki, I
But
haven't even really watched Central Park, even though I have Apple TV. It'll suggest it
fair.
to me often. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm
No,
good.
I don't think I finished a full episode. But either way,
Uh,
from a certain angle, you could consider those to be spin-offs of Bob's Burgers stylistically, not in
mhm,
terms of specific characters going off and getting their own shows. But that
mhm.
is something else we wanted to talk about today was potential imaginary potential for spin-off shows,
Spin-offs.
actual spin-offs of Bob's Burgers. Um, what kinds of characters, what kinds of scenarios would actually work for a spin-off show and have a chance of actually being made.
Ooh.
So,
Okay.
what do you think? What do you
That
think?
actually has a chance of being made. Oof.
Well, maybe we shouldn't be so realistic about it. Maybe we should just keep it imaginary. But yeah, how about just personal preference?
Okay.
What would you like
Personal
to see?
preference.
What would
I
work
would
for
love to
you?
see a Marshmallow spinoff, 100%,
Right.
110%. I want to see what are they doing during the day? What are they doing at night? We know like kind of surface level. Marshmallow is like in the know about the cool events like the Christmas rave, the parade thingy, the float thingy, the blueberries like that you can have weed with. Like so
Right.
she's in the know. She knows what's going
Yes.
on in the town, all the fun stuff.
Right.
But we don't really know how she knows and like what is she going to. I bet she hangs out with Mr. Fishoder and stuff like that. And I would love to see, I would love for it to be kind of like this, not anthology, but it would just change like every, because she doesn't have any ties to a job. I don't know what her job is.
Hmm.
um that we wouldn't have to necessarily revolve around like how we have to revolve around burgers and the restaurant. We wouldn't
Right.
have to do that with Marshmallow. We could
Right.
literally go anywhere and do anything and just kind of interact with the Belchers every now and then, be like, hi, we're doing this. That would be cool. That, yes.
Yes. That's true. And what was the title you came up with for that
I
one?
said day in the life of Marshmallow,
Mm.
but that's wordy.
Mm.
um Maybe like mellowed, but then you're not mellow.
Okay.
I
So
don't know.
not s'mores.
Oh, I like that.
S'mores might be too suggestive or too vague. It doesn't really. You have to be a fan.
Or no, it would just be called like "Hey Marshmallow!" exclamation point.
Ah.
That'd be nice, right?
Okay. So does that mean they're like talking directly to camera? Like
No,
a
it's just more so because whenever we see Marshmallow,
right.
it's like Bob's going, "Hey Marshmallow." So like there's the familiarity of that. So we would be like, "Hey Marshmallow," and it's like, "Hey Marshmallow, what are you doing?
Okay.
Like what's up?"
I had a thought of I had an image, I guess, of
Oh, oh.
Marshmallow leading like a PBS style kind of Mr. Rogers show. Or
Oh, that would be really
a
cool. Yes.
or a tour guide thing, like giving tours of the town and
I
the
like that,
different
but like an adult
happenings.
tour.
Adult tour. Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's an angle. But either one works,
Okay.
or just wacky stories and, in the city, the
Yes. Okay,
goings
what about
on.
you?
That works too.
Nightlife.
I mean, I wrote down Peter Pescadero, even though I don't really have. I think the joke would be that, the title and everything make it, the setup make it seems like Peter's really going to be the focus of everything. And he's going to be the star of the show. But in action, everything else becomes more interesting. Like
Aw.
everyone around him, the other things going on, that just, it's a coincidence that these things are also happening when they're, showing a particular story or whatever.
Okay.
That
So
becomes more interesting.
it's giving
How we
me
follow
that
that.
episode of Craig of the Creek where it's the funeral for Bobby and they're all sharing their favorite moments with Bobby, but then the
Mm.
stories are just other cool things happening, and then all of a sudden at the end Bobby just falls over and is like, "Oh, my candy." And it's like, "There's Bobby. There he is in the memory." But it's like that but with Peter Pescadero.
Yeah, we just slowly move away from whatever he's actually doing, and go on other little adventures. So hopefully we would get a lot of variety out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a funny running gag that no one actually cares about what Peter Pescadero is doing. So that's one thing. The only other thing I had considered was not for a specific character, but rather sticking with a specific location, which
Okay.
would just be the school. It would be Wagstaff, and we focus
Oh.
on the staff. I assume like Abbott Elementary, even though I've never watched an episode of that show. I assume it's about people who work at a school and things
Yes.
that they get up to. And obviously we have our standbys. We have
Okay.
Mr. Front. We have
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Laban's. Obviously, some of the teachers, even the more obscure ones we've only seen once or twice, they come back, and
The
we also
librarian,
have librarian person, but
drama
we also
teacher.
have an injection of new characters. We have maybe, for
Okay.
example, as our fish out of water, like a very young, hip teacher who's just out of teacher school,
Wear sandals.
and they wear sandals and they're very enthusiastic about everything. Unfortunately, they now have a job at Wagstaff Elementary, so
Okay.
they slowly come to realize, oh, this is not what I was envisioning. This is not, living up to my expectations, but still finding opportunities to do fun stuff and to bring a little bit of flavor and life to an otherwise pretty
Bland.
desperate situation at Wagstaff as a whole.
Okay.
But it's an ensemble piece. It's not just, we don't just have one lead. It's everybody contributing. Everybody has opportunities for their own episodes and things like that.
Yes.
So
I would like that.
that
We
was
would
the
get.
only,
We would
yeah.
still get the Belchers around in
Yeah, the
class and
Belchers
stuff
are
like
around.
that in the hallways.
Yeah, but we're also not tied. Like if God forbid, if Bob's Burgers decided at some point that the kids should age and mature and leave, we're still okay. We don't have to worry about that anymore because the staffers here are probably just going to be there for the rest of their lives, the rest
Yeah.
of their working lives at least. So
Yeah.
that can go on forever. No big deal. And also new students too. Like how often do we really get to meet and hang out with kids in other grades that aren't sharing classes with one of the Belchers? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially as consistent characters. Like we might see one here or there, and then they leave forever and then it's gone. But we could
Jessica.
we could have really likable, fun and crazy kids.
Yeah.
Wild
The
and Crazy
in-between
Kids?
grades
Is
would
that
be
the show?
fun. Yeah. Wild and crazy kids. Copyright strike.
That's what I had. Those are
Okay.
the two big ones. And but no other consistent characters were jumping out like Teddy. No, like,
No.
it's not enough there. Same thing with Mort.
Yeah.
Unless he has like some lascivious double life that we just don't see, and like
I think
that's
he
the
does, and I
gag.
think that's why we don't see him anymore. I think it's because he's doing some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, how about we combine our ideas? And it's an ensemble. It's like like the school. It's
Okay.
about the school, but Marshmallow comes in as
Oh.
new staff.
Marshmallow is what, a dance instructor,
I mean, I don't know if she could teach that amount of rhythm.
cafeteria staff, or
She'd be like, "Here you go, baby."
a literature teacher, perhaps something like that.
She's gonna be the new guidance counselor and is gonna have to like fight Fran for it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, there's potential there. I could see that.
Or like, what would she do? What would be a good job for her at the school? Not a bus driver teacher. She's not driving people nowhere.
No, I would think like extracurricular stuff.
Okay, yeah.
They coordinate
commitment.
activities and
Yes.
different little student groups and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Running student council, or the faculty
That's a big
that
commitment. That's
oversees
a big commitment.
student council operations.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
No, yeah, there are different things that could work for that. I think that works just fine. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Pescadero, I love how these little segues are just naturally occurring. So, Pescadero, we were talking about also the necessity for a new rival for Bob. I
Yeah.
was thinking the Pescadero family would be a
Mm,
fun one where they move across the street.
yeah.
And the parents, obviously, their last name Pescadero makes you think of fish, 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 fish.
Right.
We don't like tuna. Bob hates tuna, and they could have a tuna melt special, like a seafood restaurant, basically. That is going to be the new rival for Bob. But here's the kicker:
Mm.
is that the family is extremely nice. They're like
Ah,
the opposite of the opposite of Jimmy Pesto, and like instead of throwing like insults across the street, he's like,
yeah.
"You look great today, Bob." Zoom, and
Mm.
he's so used to the negativity of Jimmy Pesto that he becomes the Jimmy Pesto, like he becomes the bully and
Oh,
kind of like
sure.
the asshole towards
Yeah.
the Pescadero family, and we're just like, "Oh, Bob, no, they're being really nice to you, and they're just not used to that kind of feedback at all." I
Right.
think that'd be hilarious. Like kill him with kindness and Bob's just dying.
Right. I like it. No, I think it's a very modern approach. I think the idea of getting comedy out of like extreme positivity, I think that
Yes.
works. I think that's funny. I think they play off of that very well. And to be honest, part of my idea for a new rival actually kind of mirrors that. At
Ooh.
least in the fact that they're nice or just competent, you know,
Yeah.
they're not
Competent.
outwardly antagonistic to Bob at the very least. So
Yeah.
my person, it's not a whole I haven't thought about their family or any of that kind of stuff yet. But the rival is Bo Leona. Meet
Oh, baloney.
Bo Leona. His
Bo.
first name is Bo and his last name is Leona. Okay? And he's super slick, super suave. He's
Mm-hmm.
actually Italian, by the way. He's an Italian person or Italian American, whatever. You know, no accent. But that's his actual heritage. And
Mm-hmm.
he's sort of an older guy. I want to say like 50s, early 60s. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of a silver fox
I would say, is he
look,
hot?
tracksuits,
Nice.
that kind of
Nice.
vibe. And what he does, he's not a restaurateur. That's not his line of work or interest at all. He appreciates good food, of course. He appreciates great wine. But what he does is he buys up that property and he starts selling scooters. Starts selling scooters, not just Vespas, not just the big names, but a
What?
variety for a different, you know, different price points, different customers, all that kind of thing. And it works for that particular location because they're very small. He doesn't need
Yes.
that much floor space to show off a bunch of scooters. He also doesn't keep
Mm-hmm.
that much stock at any one time. And rather than going for the rustic, you know, cliches of stereotypical Italian decor, he goes ultra slick and modern. Lots of glass and concrete everywhere, natural light
For the
pouring
scooters?
into the store. Yeah, the scooters look beautiful. He'll park some of them out in front of the business every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it goes well. Like he does pretty well. He's a good salesman. He's a
Mm-hmm.
natural, you know, conversation starter kind of person. Very
Mm-hmm.
personable overall. And the thing that comes out of all this, aside that we could have a similar angle of just, oh, he's super nice to Bob and it's fine. So
Yeah,
there are no reasons for them to be rivals, and yet at the same time,
they
Bob
are.
is not into it, and he, you know, he feels that the businesses clash in
Yeah.
some way. And what we have now, in addition to that, is that the immediate neighborhood, whatever the name of the neighborhood is where Bob's Burgers happens to be, it starts being gentrified a little tiny bit. It starts
Uh-oh.
becoming a little bit more upscale. You see?
Yes.
Like it's a different kind of crowd. coming by here now. Some of that is good because
they
some
want
of them
scooters.
will inevitably appreciate Bob's culinary expertise and creativity. But at the same time, yeah, now, it kind of looks like a little rinky-dink shop that he has over there.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
there's
In
not,
comparison to this fancy scooter spot that's across
yeah,
the street.
and not all of those scooter customers even eat meat. They're like, where are the meatless option? Where's all
Yeah.
that stuff that you're
And
not
if they did
providing
eat
for
meat,
me?
they could use the scooter to then travel to somewhere else to get food.
Sure. Yeah. No,
They don't need to walk
I
across the
think
street.
there's
They could scooter.
I think there's a huge amount of potential for stories here, and just as like a continuous thing, a wonderful angle would be like, oh, as soon as he gets there, Bob accidentally gets talked into leasing a scooter for the family. Like he doesn't think he's actually signing up for this, but Bo Leona is just so smooth that he doesn't even know what's happening. He gets the
Smooth
signature
operator.
on the papers. So now, over the course of maybe an entire season, the Belchers are trying to pay off this scooter bit by bit, which is really not that expensive in the first place. It was a pre-owned model, it's kind of beat
Okay.
up. But now all of the Belchers are like, wait, but we don't know how to ride it. We don't,
Yeah.
but we need to get our money's worth. We could do deliveries. You could have a whole delivery episode of trying to get that started and like
Louise
who's
would
going
just
to
want to
be.
race it. It would be an episode of her trying to get the keys from Bob or Linda so that she could race the
Yeah.
scooter.
Or they just
only to
accept
find out the
that.
scooter doesn't go fast.
Or they accept that from the start. They're just like, Louise,
Okay.
Louise is so
Here you go.
gung-ho, and then she's inevitably disappointed by
Yes,
the fact
yes.
that it's just a scooter. It's not some crazy motorcycle or something like that. So lots of different routes you could take, lots of different fun things that are
Okay.
adding to the substance of the show without just the character drama. It's not
Hmm.
just about Bob and Bo Leona running, button heads and getting into tussles and that kind of thing.
And I'm sorry, where does Bowley? Is that something? Am I missing something?
No, I don't think I did something I thought up 2 minutes
Oh, okay.
before we started recording. I think Bo
Bo
Leona is
Leo-
perfect.
Is it B-O or is it B-A-U? Bo.
No, it's B-O.
B-O.
Yeah. Bo Leona. Yeah.
Bo, not like Ray Leona.
No. Who's Ray? You mean Ray Liotta?
Oh, I did read Ray Liotta.
Oh, okay. That's a different name. This is Bo Leona. He's his own man. And he has his own incredible backstory that we'll
Can he
hear
look
about.
like Ray Liotta? Because it kind of sounds like you were describing him a bit.
Well, he definitely has like dark hair that's, thick dark hair. And it's very well coiffed. So I guess in that way,
We'll put a picture of
he
Ray
probably
Liotta.
has a good tan. He's probably pretty tan.
Yeah, you can hold a tan with all those scooters riding around on the scooters.
And he's
He
big
probably
into
has a good tan.
he's big into collecting limited edition sneakers. He's a real sneakerhead. So
He
he
is a
always has
sneakerhead.
some weird wacky shoes on all the time.
But is he mean? Like, if he's a sneakerhead, if he sees Bob's clogs, is he gonna read them for them, or he's just gonna be like, let me know what shoe
think-
size you are, and I will get you sneakers.
Yeah, I think if anything, he would just be overly zealous about trying to get Bob into the hobby.
Yeah.
Like he would try to be, oh, come out with me we're gonna go hang out with the hype beasts, and they
Yes.
could totally make a Bob's Burgers episode about hype beasts. Like that's just the right amount of like cultural awareness, but also kind of behind the times thing that they would
Okay.
put into an episode. I think so many options. There's so much. We're proving it right now. There's so much you can do with Bo Leona. And
Bo
so
Leona, I
many
love him.
adventures they can go on. And also we're talking about changing the character of the neighborhood. Do they want it to change? Do they want this new clientele coming into town? Or is there resistance to that? Do they have to have a conversation with Bo about
Yeah.
the effect that he's having on the community? I don't know. There's a lot here. There's a lot of meat on the bone. And plenty
I
of
have
meat.
another one.
Yeah? What do you got?
Wait, no, I'm sorry, plenty of meat. Where else? I need to know.
On Bo Leona's bones, obviously. Lots of
On
meat
his
there.
Bo Leona bones.
Yes.
Okay. So my other one,
Yeah.
speaking of changing the neighborhood, are we okay with this?
Right.
Let's pretend I don't. So they're on the East Coast. I don't know what the
Yes.
cannabis laws are in the East Coast, but it would be très interessante. That's two different languages. If they had a cannabis cafe open across the street, where it's like,
Ah.
but illegal, it'd be legal in this
Right.
world.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's fine and they're chill. The owners are
Okay.
like super chill and super nice. But
Okay.
now you have children that live across the street from that.
Right.
You have they're making food, they're having drinks, they're obviously smoking.
Yes.
Edith would have some issues, but then maybe she wouldn't. Like it would be everyone having issues with it. But then when they go, after they leave, they're just like, no, man, it's all good. It's
Mm.
fine. It's fine. It's stuff.
Okay. 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 I have a.
But
I have
then
a.
it would help them. It would help them because then they can go
Oh
across the
yeah, of
street and
course.
get
It would
burgers.
be a boon to business, of course. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I have a tweak. I have a tweak. I like the
Okay.
idea.
Tweak it.
But
Tweak it.
here's what I'm gonna tweak it around just a little bit, 3/4 clockwise. Is that because I'm worried that if it's right there and it's in every shot, in the background of the restaurant and stuff like that, like I feel like it's too much of a presence. And like after they've done the initial episode, it just feels like, oh, okay,
just
like is
there.
that still going on? Is there still tension there because of that? And what if instead of on the ground floor, usual commercial space, what if it's a rooftop cafe on the same building,
Ooh.
right? So it's still like across the street, but we don't have to have it in every single shot. And also, I feel like it could be funny to just like every once in a while something insane is happening over there that you can just barely see or hear down at the
You have to
the
look
ground
up.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just like there's a perpetual cloud of smoke over top
Yep.
of the building, and like there are
Yeah.
fire trucks coming all the time because they keep getting calls, and they're like, no, it's okay. It's
It's
fine.
just the cafe.
Yeah, because I would be like sort of legitimately concerned for the Belcher children if there was like, just constantly smoke drifting across the street. I would be like, wait, this is not okay. Like
Right.
this is not this is not actually acceptable. So, yeah, just a location tweak, but otherwise, yeah, there's a lot you could do with that idea.
All right, I'll take it.
It would also potentially clash with Linda's like secretly more conservative side.
What do you mean?
Like I think she would enjoy the idea of being very supportive of it,
Yeah,
but at the same time extremely concerned for her young children.
sure.
And so that side of it would be like, hey, could you not, you know?
But she's taking mystery pills from Dalton at the Christmas party.
Yeah, but that's the mood. That's the vibe. That's just,
That's what happens.
that's what you
sometimes.
yeah, when you go to that place and on that day, and you are Linda, that's what you get into. So I
Okay.
don't think I mean, Bob is, obviously Bob has had his own dalliances with different substances and the like, but I don't know. Might be a bridge too far. I mean, there's potential
Okay.
there. There's a
We could
potential
bring back
wrinkle.
those characters from when the kids got fired and they work on the cannabis farm. It could be them.
Right.
They got out of jail and they're going
Right.
straight. They're doing it legally this time. They're going to open up a cafe. It's going to be a
Oh,
cute
yeah.
little cafe.
Yeah, it
but
would
if
be
you go
the-
up to the rooftop, if you go to the rooftop, that's where it's fun.
It would be the same people for sure. Although wasn't
Pedal,
one of
daddy,
them
pedal.
wasn't one of them Nick Offerman? No.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He might be too expensive. I don't know. I don't know what rates
That's
he's
true.
charging.
That's very true.
Okay, so there you have it. There's some, we came up with a few more potential rivals
Yeah.
and other situations that the Belchers
I did
would
really
have to
like
deal
Bo
with.
Leona.
Yeah, Bo Leona is, very good. There's no denying that. But I don't. Will they have the guts? Will they have the guts to move forward with Bo Leona? Who would they cast
Do you
as
have
Bo
it?
Leona?
Guts. Ray Liotta. I'm just kidding. He's dead, I think. I think he's dead.
He might be dead.
Mark
Pacino.
Harmon. Pacino. Oh my gosh, John Leguizamo.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh please, John Leguizamo. That'd be great. Because he's funny. He's funny.
He's funny. He's funny. I mean, well, I don't know if he's expensive either. I was gonna say
Or they can get the best Italian ever, Chris Pratt, and he could do it.
Chris Pratt could do a decent job. There's no denying that. Yeah. Yeah. I think Pacino. Let's go Pacino, probably.
Can we afford Pacino?
Or the other guy I always confuse with Pacino.
De Niro?
Possibly.
Robert De Niro?
Is he alive?
I was like, am I just saying words?
Those are words. They are words, and they might be
De
Italian.
Niro.
I don't know.
De Niro is alive. I would hope that any of the people we just named, or none of them are Italian. That'd be great.
Anyway, but there you have it. Okay, so yeah, there's room. I have been a little bit disappointed that, as far as I know, there hasn't been a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been someone filling the very strange, uncomfortable shoes of Jimmy Pesto Sr.
Yeah.
in the post Jimmy Sr. years. There just hasn't been anything. I assume that a lot of that was just there wasn't enough time to adjust. It was a very short notice thing, right? They had to scramble and make some changes to the episodes produced, or at least that was my impression.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we also just know they're not crazy about adding really consistent new characters. And definitely not really adding characters who are part of the core group. So that's probably a big part of it.
They're missing out. They're really missing. Like,
But
the
I would
more
love
I
to
think
see
about
more.
it,
Yeah.
the more the Pescadero idea. I'm like, it makes sense. It makes freaking sense.
Sure, could
Just
be.
have this super
Yeah.
nice family move in.
Yeah.
Have them be like the exact opposites of them. Have them stand side by side, family fracas.
Yeah, and the
And then the
Belchers just don't
Pescadero-
like them.
Yes, because they're so nice.
Just like, well, that would be very much The Simpsons and the Flanderses, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Very
don't watch
similar,
The Simpsons. I'm
very
so
similar
sorry.
dynamic.
That's very true. But they're not religious. They just love fish.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't need the
Like Bob
fundamentalist
can
Christian vibe.
Bob can go deep sea fishing and like find a love of fish. Not to say that he's gonna start making fish burgers, but like he'll find the joy in fish the way that he finds in beef.
The Pescadero.
And like Linda could have a new best friend through the wife or something like that.
Frenemy. Also, the Pescaderos have like way too many traditions surrounding fall. Like when it becomes fall, they get incredibly excited. They
It's
go
fall,
way
yeah.
over the top, and they act like all the stuff they do is very normal, but
Yes.
really no one else does it. It's just their thing, just something they really care about. Yeah. Let's get the Pescaderos in there.
Please.
Do they have a
calling all
business?
Pescaderos.
They
I
have
don't think
They're
so.
just living there. Okay.
Well,
so
I
this
would like
isn't
for them
about-
to have a business. I wanted them to have like a seafood restaurant.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have
Okay.
to. But
Yeah.
it would add the clash of like the potential for competition
Sure.
for Bob, but then hopefully that would over time turn into inspiration and collaboration
Okay.
rather than upsetness
Okay.
and jealousy.
I see. Yeah.
And then like the wife can be like Mama Pescadero could be either more zany than Linda and Linda has to dial her back, or the opposite where she's right, like she's just so crazy that Linda's like,
Wow.
even you, let's calm it down, let's still be friends, but like
Yeah.
calm it down. Or like, what if it's like Nat Pescadero? She's had a whole family this whole time. She's Peter Pescadero's mom and just hasn't said anything.
Could be. Who knows? We'll have to find out in season 18.
Ooh, Nat could have a spin-off show as well.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, I mean, I know that you're not the biggest fan of Nat, but she would be one of those that could have. I'm trying to think of characters that you could have shows that don't center around one thing, that could just be different. Like you turn on this episode, they're doing this. You turn on
Right.
another episode, they're doing that. And it's
Right.
not like, well, how did we get there? It's like, this character's all over the place. What do you mean, how did we get there?
Yes.
So Nat would be good. Randy was another one I was thinking about. Just like, what is this trust fund kid doing now? Like,
Right.
just unlimited money. Every episode he's trying something else and then fails, and then he tries something else and
Sure.
fails. He's like, oh my God, wait, too soon? But I was like, he's going to get into it. He's like, I'm going to buy a submarine and go down.
Ah.
And then
Okay.
right before he does it, his dad calls and is like, no, I said that you could buy a yacht, not a submarine.
Ah. Okay. Oh, but we did have the submersible in the Bob's Burgers movie. You know,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I
worried
forgot
that's
about
too
those.
close.
Good call, good call. Okay.
So we'll see.
I love that. Okay, I feel good. I feel good about these ideas. I think Fox is going to be calling us very soon. Are we
Yes.
scabs for this? Are we scabs with the
No, because we're not getting paid.
gotcha? That's true. Neither are they,
Yeah, we're not
unfortunately,
getting
as of
paid.
now. So when I was watching Bob's Burgers earlier today,
Yeah.
one of the ads that came up, because yes, I have the student account because I'm poor and I get commercials. It said brought to you by Starfield, the best game ever, and that's a video game that's coming out soon, and I made me wonder if there was a Bob's Burger video game, if there's, minus if there's already one, pretend if there's none, what would it be about? Like, what are we doing in it? I had a horror genre video game,
Okay.
and it's based off of it would be the video game would take place inside of Tina's brain when she's dreaming.
Mm,
And so it would take some of those stories that she's told us about zombies and all that and just bring it to life. And we are inside the school and we have to fight the zombies off. And yeah, you can get different power ups. You could play as different characters.
okay.
Like Jimmy Pesto would try to like dance. Like each character would have their own little what they do to try to fight the zombies. Like Jimmy would try to like show his butt and stuff.
Hmm.
Tina would try to kiss them. Louise
Right.
is throwing like ninja stars, credit cards, and stuff like that. And
Okay.
then Gene is playing music at them. But yeah, it was very like zombie oriented.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the same vein, I think you could also pull off a zombie dating sim with Tina as the focus.
Ooh, yes.
Sort of an Otome situation. Tina's at the
Okay.
center, and then she has this selection of zombies, which, ironically, they're very similar to one another, but they're presented as all these different options, like different personalities and stuff, different looks, different styles. And yeah, Tina has to choose based on how you drive those conversations.
Interacting. Okay, so like Monster Prom or Monster High. Monster Prom.
Sure, yeah, visual novels, but yeah, dating sims in general, we can just copy all of that. Yeah, I think that could be done very easily, very quickly. And you could have
Speaking of
some,
quick.
speaking of quickly,
No, I'm sorry. You can have some what? Fun with it?
have some really explicit NSFW Tina zombie action.
Like what?
What do you mean? This
Oh, I
is
know what that. Sorry, I forgot what the NSW. I forgot what that stood for. I got you. I get it now.
Although it is problematic given Tina's age, so we might
Yeah,
have to bump
yeah.
Tina's age a little bit. It's a fantasy anyway. It's all, dream stuff. So it's an adult Tina, of course.
It's a fan fantasy.
So it's all fine. It's totally above board. But yeah, they're gonna go hard. There's gonna be some material in there that not everybody will be into.
Yeah.
That's just part of the experience, and it is 18 plus. You cannot be playing this if you're a small child. That's just the way it is. Okay. Anyway, Tina zombies. Yeah, lots of different options there. I liked your idea.
Thank you.
What else you got?
I had a simple sandwich simulator situation. Circa this, it's so in my brain, and like no one can tell me it wasn't real. The Lilo and Stitch sandwich building stacking game.
Okay.
With the yellow Stitch guy who was like basically identical to Stitch, but he just liked making sandwiches instead.
Yeah.
It was that game where you would just stack different meats and cheeses and you would go back and forth as like ingredients fall from the sky, and then stack as high as you could and like stack the correct ingredients. That, but with burgers, making the burger of the day, or like making different burgers of the day and trying to get the different supplies and not getting the wrong supplies. Otherwise, you're making other burgers and stuff.
Ah,
That's a nice little scroller or like a little side to side situation.
yeah. I'm playing it currently.
Oh, does it exist?
Yep.
No. Wait, the Lilo and Stitch one or a Bob's
Yes.
Burger?
It's called Sandwich Stacker.
Okay, it's real. All
Yeah.
right.
I think that could work
Wow.
just fine. Yeah, I think that could work beautifully. And yeah, easy, probably just a little flash game or something similar where, yeah, that could be a mobile thing. It could be a browser thing. It's not expensive to make.
You can change characters.
Yeah, right. But you can still say, hey, look, it's a Bob's Burgers game. You know?
Yeah.
Try this out. Give it a shot.
That'd be fun. And like different characters, like Linda could go fast because she talks fast. So her character can move a little bit faster. And then
Okay.
like Jean just drops stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we see customers in the background. We see shenanigans in the you know, that portion of the restaurant while you're stacking your sandwiches. I think that would work just fine. Yeah, I could absolutely see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I want a Battle Royale Bob's Burger
Oh,
video game. Yeah.
okay.
Versus the town. Versus the whole town. Or
This is the town.
um what's like a safe way to have guns without having guns? Because I want to give it to the kids, but you can't give kids guns.
No, yeah, it would have to be like laser tag or
Yeah.
water guns or
Laser tag would be cool. A laser tag
ketchup
game.
and mustard bottles.
Ooh, yes, and then it would be red versus yellow for ketchup and mustard. Splatoon, but Bob's Burgers. I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
Right, but it's
I'm
like,
into
it's
it.
gross. It's like Nickelodeon gross, you know?
Yeah.
Shooting this stuff around at each other. Yeah. That works too. Yeah, that's probably the most complex of the bunch, but I think it's a solid mechanic. Solid
the
shooter.
kids can just compete on guts or something like that.
Oh,
Legends
yeah.
of the Hidden Temples.
Absolutely.
How well do you think they would do well on that? Like what show from back then? Like Double Dare 2000, Figure It Out, Legend of the Hidden Temple, Guts. I think of another one. How do you think they would do well on those?
The Belchers?
Yeah, the Belcher family or like the kids.
I think Figure It Out has potential just because they would come up with something insane that they do, and nobody has any idea what that is, and the clues are not helping. So that could work just fine. But no, I don't think the more physical game shows would play out very well.
Okay.
They've proven that in the past. They're not as
That's true.
capable of physical tasks and activities.
They don't like running.
Yeah, they would get distracted. Something would go wrong, and it wouldn't work out very well. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay, let's
Yes.
see. I had a couple of things. I had a couple of game ideas here. Bob's Burger stuff. Nothing too complicated. But the first one would be underground casino management game. So you really are just filling the shoes of Louise here in this
Yes.
particular one, where it's very much a Louise game. It's about maximizing profits, minimizing costs.
Lemonade
and
stand.
we could see it as a revival of the underground casino, or it could just be it could be something like that of just like, oh, stuff she's selling on the street and just trying to do it well and make as much money as possible.
Oh, I just meant the game Lemonade stand. Like that's what
I understand,
that's what-
but they also had the art crawl booth, stuff like that. So there are instances of Louis selling stuff on the street. So there's direct parallel. But yeah, I like the idea of top-down management game, relatively simple graphics and animations. But if you really want to delve into it and get into the micromanagement stuff and be like, okay, we're going to cheat at rock, paper, scissors, however you do that. We're going to cheat once every 5 games.
Oh wow!
Like we're gonna
you
try
you have that option. You have
to
that
mess
option
with
to,
the
like,
odds,
flip.
yeah, but that also increases the chances of one of the kids catching you, noticing and calling you out. So there's constant risk reward stuff going on in terms of the calculations behind the different casino games, and most of which are just like kids games, right? That was the whole thing
Yeah.
with that episode, is just like dumb schoolyard
Yeah,
kind
rock.
of games, right? Not
Battleship.
serious casino stuff. Yeah. So like different ways of tweaking those, as well as greasing the customers, which was supposed to be Tina's job in that episode. So either training her up to be better at it, or trying to hire other girls from the school or boys to do this job, you know,
Ooh.
and see if, and it's all very innocent, of course. It's just like, you know, compliment that kid on his red baseball cap that he happens to be wearing today. And that's, you know,
Okay.
that's the best compliment he's ever gotten in his life. So all of a sudden he's in a good mood. He wants to spend some more money, things like that. Or toys, like, you know, or prizes, you know, what are you offering as payouts for all the different games and stuff? How much do those cost? Are you taking a loss by giving away great prizes, or is that bringing more people through the door? So lots of room to do little bits of micromanagement here and there, and also just goofy Louise stuff. You know, you have different
Yeah.
Louise voice lines for when things are going well and when things are going very poorly, and then there's the ultimate threat of like,
Adults.
yeah, adults busting down the door. And it's like, okay, the doorman is also very important because they have to figure out whether or not the adult is cool, right? So, like, okay, what are the chances this adult is going to break it all up and get you in trouble? And what's
Yeah.
the chance that they just want, like Mr. Fishoder, they
cool.
just want to join in and hang out and gamble? So, I don't know. I don't think it would be the most complicated thing to make, at least in terms of visuals. I don't know about the gambling systems under the hood, but that's just the ultimate Louise game in my mind. Outside of like an extreme sports game, she might be a key character in. And then the other thing I had is a very lazy idea, but one that I would actually genuinely like to see and play, which is a kart racer. So back in the day, there were dozens or hundreds of different licensed kart racers for everything you could imagine. And most of them are junk, but
Yes.
there's a lot of fun ideas you
roll.
could work with here in Bob's Burgers. And I think it would be lovely. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like, I don't know, you could do the town is having a big race on a particular weekend, you know, and this is what everything revolves around. Or it could be like a go-kart track at the wharf or something like that. Or the go-kart racing league. Remember that whole episode?
Oh
It
yeah.
could be a spin-off of that.
Yeah.
It could use that as a jumping off point.
Yo, Sasha, bring Sasha back.
But specifically, I don't want it to be just kids. I want to see some of the adults, you know, in custom carts, and they're way too big for them, and they
Yes.
each have their own silly little item or
Like
power up
Bob's
that
knees
they can
are
use.
like up here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that actually makes it harder for him to steer because he can't see very well for the rest of his body. Or like Teddy obviously has better overall speed, but really bad acceleration. You know, it just takes too long. He has to gather his senses before he gets back on the road.
What kind of items? What kind of items do you like?
Linda, I think some kind of power up would just be like scream yelling at whoever's immediately in front of her.
All right.
Or yelling angry things at them, like her road rage kind of stuff. That's not a bad
Yes.
power up for Linda. It's just road rage, you know, and she intimidates everybody else nearby.
But she gets to power through everybody, like not like the star, but like kind of like the star. In
Oh,
Mario
sure.
Kart.
Yeah, or Bob could be like, well, this would be a very expensive power up to implement, but you could do tunes. Donna Summer track comes on, and automatically all of his stats get a boost across the
Yes.
board. Everything is better all of a sudden because Bob is listening to Donna Summer, and/or has had some whiskey. Although I don't know if that's problematic
That would be a
to
little
have characters
problematic.
drinking in a go-kart racing game.
Yes,
But,
wink.
but what do you think? What do you think for the kids or for Teddy? Like, what would their big thing be?
I feel like Teddy's power up would be like a wrench or something like that he's able to like throw at your cart. That will make your cart
like a boomerang
kind of,
kind of thing.
yeah, but it'll like mess with like a wheel or something because he's a handyman. So like, he
Oh
would
yeah,
be
like you could
un-handyman-ing.
sabotage.
Yeah, it's his is
Wow.
sabotage oriented.
That'd be
And
great.
then Gene's would be like, I'm just trying to do direct comparisons to Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's fair.
It would be like that giant boombox thing, but Gene's would be a
Yes.
keyboard, and he just
Super
slams
horn.
on it, and it's like like that.
Ah, okay.
Louise, my girl, fireballs.
Mm. Okay. Just magic
Fireballs.
fireballs.
Or like you know how the squids like does ink on your screen? It
Yes.
could do that, but it would pull over like her oh my gosh, her hat, like it's pulling the hat over your eyes so you can't see.
Ah,
So everyone, that happens to everybody except you.
I see. Interesting.
And
And
so-
Tina has some kind of seduction power,
yes. yes.
attraction power
Yeah, it's like a magnet where she can like
that
suck.
distracts other racers.
It distracts other racers, or it could like attach. She could use the magnet to like speed up and attach to whoever the magnet is. So like if you're in first place, she could
okay.
attach to the back of you and then break you down. And
Oh,
then
she
she'll
gets
go
to rubber
forward.
band. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are decent. I mean, I would also like them to all have custom carts, but I feel like
course.
it's too much to hash out right now.
Yes.
Too
Oh
many
my gosh.
details.
And then for the Bullet Bill, is that how that's his name, right? Bullet Bill.
Yeah.
It's for Bullet Bill. It's just a giant hamburger with
Oh.
flames coming out of it
Okay.
or something.
So just like the SpongeBob movie, Krabby Patty
Yes.
cart.
Yeah, but it's not a cart. It's just a giant burger.
It's just a giant floating burger. That's not okay. That has rocket boosters. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not it's not the most creative idea to do a kart racer, but I still like the idea of
It would be fun.
just the indulging in the characters and their unique traits and all that kind of stuff. It would be great. Yeah. And I want to see different locales throughout whatever the name of their town is.
Yeah, the Wonder Wharf.
They
a
could,
track through the school.
Yeah, there's roller coasters in the background, or when they go to, what is the
Farmers
name
Market.
of Fantasyland again? When they go to Fantasyland.
No.
Yeah, I know. Either way, the place with the rich people, we all forgot about because we haven't been there in a long time, is super nice and well kept, and has actual funding and looks like a professional course. Yeah, lots of fun things to do there. But yeah, if Bob's Burgers was big in like the late 90s or the early 2000s, it would have happened. It would have already happened by now. There
Oh my
would
gosh.
be a kart racer for Bob's Burgers.
King's Head Island.
King's Head Island, of course. Wow.
Shame on us.
What a terrible thing to forget. Anyway, but that's what I
Also-
had.
I love it. I love that. I would play all of those games. I would
Yeah,
definitely
at
play all
least
of
for
those.
at least for a minute.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Maybe
for a
two.
minute.
Maybe two if it's great. Who
Maybe, yeah,
knows?
if it really pulls you in, then a nice 5-minute game.
Aw. Well, that's pretty much all I had for today. I appreciate you doing this with me.
Beautiful. Yeah, of course. Good to get back. We don't have any specific episodes to talk about yet because there
Not
are
yet.
no new episodes so far. We'll see how the next season plays out, whether there are noticeable changes because of the strike. But for the time being, it seems like it's full steam ahead, I guess,
Full steam ahead, but also
for 2 more years.
for 2 more years.
2 more years, and then who knows what after that. So, yeah.
But I do hope the writers, like, this whole thing gets figured out sooner than later. Like, I don't
Right.
want to be super all about me because it has nothing to do with me. But as a consumer, it makes me sad to know that whether or not this gets figured out, whatever we are seeing on the TV is them kind of covering their asses until they can either wait these people out from the strike or like give in or whatever.
Correct.
So I feel like I shouldn't be enjoying television until this is all figured out. I hope that made sense.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed, but we'll see where it goes. And then, yeah, we'll also see if we have ideas for the next episode of
Ayo.
the podcast. And go from there.
Well, I'm Tiara Shea. That was Insert Burger Pun. And that's Mike.
Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.